Gregory, you've been steeped in campaign politics for weeks now. You were at that Republican debate in Milwaukee. When you add this factoid to the sort of composite of Donald Trump's legal woes, this is going to make his life difficult, realizing he's fundraising and trying to gather support on it, but the logistics behind this appear daunting.
Yeah, the politics so far have been pretty good for him. It's the practicalities that are going to be really difficult to pull off in an election year when he's got, as you say, up to 6 trials, at least 4 of which are criminal trials that he will have to be present for.
Yeah.
All the while, there's an extended primary season going on. In the United States, we start with in January with the Iowa caucuses, and we go into late May with a whole season of state by state choosing delegates to the convention to select a nominee. And Trump's going to be sitting in a courtroom for most of that process. This latest date on March 4th, as you say, is just before Super Tuesday, where 14 states are voting. It's the largest single chunk of delegates that are up for grabs, and he's going to be sitting in a courtroom.
Right, because Texas and California go on those dates. The issue is, particularly with the practicality, is, well, I want to ask you, what makes a difference between what we may see from him next year versus what he's doing now? I don't really see a lot of Trump rallies. I don't really see a lot of Trump-led events with him physically in the room. He's just running a campaign from Truth Social, no?
No, I think that's largely it. And I think that's largely because he's leading his closest competitor, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, by 40 points. And, you know, there's an old adage in politics that when your opponents are all busy sort of shooting themselves, don't get in the way. And so I think Trump sees this circular firing squad among the other candidates in the race. We saw it last week with the debate. A lot of them were attacking each other instead of Trump. As a matter of fact, a lot of them were defending Trump. And so why should Trump get involved in that brawl? But as these other candidates become better known, especially in these early primary states, they're going to start gaining, if only by virtue of the fact that their name recognition will go up and they'll be better known.
The one thing, though, of course, that Emerson college poll does show that Trump's standing actually did take a hit in some polls because he did not attend that debate.
That's true. He's still at 50% to, I think it was Ron DeSantis' 12 or 13, right? So, I mean, there's still pretty significant lead there, but you do start to see the beginning potentially of a closing of that gap. I spoke earlier today about this date being chosen with the former Assistant U.S. Attorney Jim Zirin on Bloomberg Radio. Here's what he said.
They don't have to read every word of 12.8 million documents. If they did, we'd all be here until never, which is the trial date that Donald Trump wanted.
So that's him speaking about the extent of work that has to be done here. The Trump team says we don't have enough time, 12.8 million pages. He went on to say, though, that he has, as a criminal defendant, to your point, Gregory, no constitutional right to have personal or professional commitments. As the judge said, he's going to be treated like every other defendant. Megan, let's bring you in on this. I know you're not a legal analyst, but you've been around politics a long time. The idea of having somebody run for president with commitments on this end kind of overshadows the narrative here, the retribution tour, right? If you're a campaign manager, you're scratching your head right now. What if you're a donor? How does this come together?
Well, you know, Trump has always been an unconventional candidate who has run unconventional campaigns, and we did see him take the hit for not going to the debate. But this is the kind of thing, these lawsuits are the kind of thing that really excite his base, that are going to get them to the polls. You know, if your sole goal is to get your voters to vote on Super Tuesday, maybe appearing in court the day before isn't the worst thing for your campaign.
How about that?
And I think that's probably the way we're going to see the Trump camp spin it.
As long as we're covering him, we're covering him.
Yeah, exactly.
How about that, Annmarie?
It's going to be an incredible year,
Just
but also,
right?
Yep. But also, it feels like we're at the calm before the storm this week, at least. It feels like the last week of summer, although I know both your kids are back at school, so back to school for you two. But what we are about to see in September in Congress is going to be a lot. A potential impeachment inquiry, a potential shutdown of the government. I want you to take a listen to what House Speaker Kevin McCarthy had to say over the weekend about this potential impeachment inquiry into President Biden.
if you look at all the information we've been able to gather so far, it is a natural step forward that you would have to go to an impeachment inquiry. And just so your viewers understand what that means, that provides Congress the apex of legal power to get all the information they need.
It seems like he's making it pretty clear there's going to be an impeachment inquiry. Is that how you see it playing out?
We see it, we're sort of inching towards there. As you mentioned, they also have to deal with the issue of a government shutdown and figuring out how to fund the government.
And aren't all these two potentially related?
Potential. I mean, everything's related in politics, right? But they only have 12 days or so in Washington to actually figure out how to keep the government open come October 1st. So I think that for all intents and purposes, that will remain a priority in the coming weeks. But you do have this push towards that you know, the ultra conservatives in the House are pushing McCarthy to launch an impeachment inquiry into the president. Hasn't said what this inquiry would be. Would it be over, you know, his son's, you know, overseas dealings, or would it be over something else entirely, maybe the border? We don't know what the inquiry would be. But what we do know is that this is a tough situation, a tough position for many Republicans in the House. There are 18 House Republicans from districts in areas that Biden carried in 2020. 5 of them are in districts that Biden carried by double percentage points, by 2 digits, or 10% or more. So this is not a vote if you are in one of those districts as a Republican you want to take.
But by dangling this carrot, is that how he gets the hard right, potentially, to vote on the spending?
Well, that's interesting. So that's the new line, right? The Speaker McCarthy says, hey, we're going to try to avoid a shutdown so we can keep the Hunter investigation going. The idea of the shutdown did emerge again in the briefing room today. Annmarie, at the White House, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre talked about the possibility of this happening. Let's listen to how she put it.
There shouldn't be no reason, right, for Congress to shut down the government. None at all. None. Senior administration officials, including the OMB Director Shalonda Young and our legislative affairs shop, we have had numerous conversations with members of Congress. We'll continue to do that, and we'll continue to engage with them.
So, Megan, everybody's talking around this, but the conventional wisdom is, yes, there's going to be a shutdown. Even if there's a CR, we get toward the end of the year, we'll be talking about it again then.
Yeah. And we've already seen the House Freedom Caucus, those ultra-conservatives I talked about earlier, talk about, you know, their conditions for any sort of stopgap spending bill, a CR, that would keep the government open while both chambers negotiate some kind of final spending bill for the government. They might be able to get that initially, maybe, you know, to keep it open for a few weeks in October. But eventually, I think odds are we're going to see the government shut down for some period of time.